So you guys asked me tons of fantastic questions about missions, technologies, programs, all the great NASA history. But by far the most common question I actually get is about my own background. How did I end up loving this old-timey space stuff? So today on Vintage Space, we're gonna get just a little bit more personal. So everyone has that moment when they turned into an absolute space nerd, and for me it was when I was 7 years old, and I can't remember whether I was assigned the project or picked it, but I ended up doing a school project in the 2nd grade on Venus. Yep, that's me, the little dork right there. When I was studying for that project on Venus, I couldn't really understand what exactly was going on this planet. I mean, how is it that it rotates around its axis backwards, but it's roughly the same size as the Earth, but it's like the Earth turned inside out in the sense that it is scorchingly hot on the surface, that it is basically the Earth's twin, but you would absolutely die if you went to that planet. And yet, I could see it in the night sky without binoculars. It was amazing to me that there was this whole other world to discover that I could see, and I wanted to learn all about it. But when I was researching for that project, I also found a cartoon image of 2 astronauts standing on the moon. I had never heard of the Apollo program before, and when I saw this cartoon, I just thought, people have walked on the moon? How did they do that? I need to know how they did that. And I'm still kind of answering that question. I didn't really dig into an academic study of the space age until my last year of undergraduate. My honors thesis was about Sputnik and the reaction in America, and that was where I learned that you can actually study history of science. This, for me, was a way of doing science and engaging in space without actually having to be a space scientist. And it kind of spiraled from there. I wrote my master's thesis on the Gemini paraglider landing system, which, as most of you guys know, is like my all-time favorite technology that failed spectacularly. And about 5 months after graduating from my master's, I started Vintage Space, and it's been almost 5 years now. What's always fascinated me about the Apollo era is not what they did, it's what they didn't do, or more specifically, what they tried to do and then failed at. If you start digging into the Apollo era, you find all these amazing programs like the Gemini paraglider, something that came from some need, but has ultimately ended up as a footnote in our common history of space. So for me, it's about uncovering those hidden aspects, the things that don't make it into the popular histories of the space age. So really what it comes down to is my own unending curiosity about how you do something so audacious as land on the moon in the 1960s, how you do something like that when it's never been done before. Inventing technologies, creating the way to do something like that is fascinating to me, and being able to tear it apart and really understand how it happened is just so satisfying. So does that make me, and specifically make this channel, make a little bit more sense to you guys? Because what I really love is when you ask me the most obscure questions that require me to dig into all kinds of old documents to really find a good answer. So that being said, do you guys have any weird questions about obscure Apollo era history? Have you guys ever read anything, even just a passing note in some book, that made you stop and think, huh, what is that? Well, let me know, and let me help you find an answer. And this is also why I post daily Vintage Spacey content on Twitter. Be sure to follow me as AST Vintage Space. And when I'm not traveling and completely behind schedule, new episodes go up right here every single Tuesday and Friday, so be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.